Hello, my name is David Clare. It is October 15th. Houston Astros are playing game one of the ALCS versus the Rangers, about 6 miles away from me. But to start the class, a question I have is, what if the reason you're not successful has less to do with not knowing what you want and more about the abuse you've lived through? You're just avoiding more pain and suffering. So reviewing the rules from last week, so we're all on the same page. And if you need more clarification, go to YouTube. Go to my page there, David Clare. And the first rule is confidentiality is key and is most important. So what happens on Zoom stays on Zoom. There's zero exceptions to this rule. If you break the rule, it's adios. We'll cut you and not let you back in. Number two, this is not a support group. The purpose of this group is to provide a safe place to help you transform your stories into empowering stories. Number three, come from love, not judgment. Now, we cannot love and judge simultaneously. We all have our traumas. No one's trauma is worse or less than yours. Number four, we're not coaches. We are healers for each other. We're here to help each other through communication, help heal. Number five, share only what you feel is comfortable. And video is optional. So I strongly encourage you to get uncomfortable because that's where your greatest transformation is going to happen. Six, conversations we share in confidentiality are not recorded. These are sacred and to have no possibility of being shared or leaked outside of this sacred place. Number seven, each share is limited to 3 minutes if there's 8 people in each room, 4 minutes if there's 6 people in each room, 6 minutes if there's 4 people in each room. Ideally, we want to share twice. Number 8, be here. Not worried about the rest of life. Not on your phone, not multitasking, not doing laundry, not whatever. If you're not here, you're not contributing completely, and you're not going to get full benefit of this. Number 9, be in a quiet place, which kind of partners with being here. Be somewhere where you could have a transparent, open conversation and not feel like you're being listened to. If you can't do that, then maybe you just don't be on that week's call. Last is have integrity. Please follow the rules or don't participate. And the 10th rule is, or not the 10th rule, I'm sorry. The bonus rule, teamwork makes the dream work. We work together to hold each other accountable for following all the rules and hold each other responsible for healing ourselves. So last week, I touched briefly on an idea that the brain is designed to keep you alive and not make you successful. So one of the most important jobs of our brain is just to keep us alive. That's it. It's not designed to earn you the perfect body, give you an amazing relationship, do things you love to do, or earn more money than you can spend. If you're burned by a stove, you instinctively pull away faster than you can think about it. Then your brain files this information in your body. Hot things equal burns and pain. Next time you see something that looks like it's hot, you're hesitant to touch or get close to it. And if you do get close to it, there may be some level of stress in your body. This is helpful because it keeps you safe. Safer you are, more likely you are to live another day. Now, this is true for any traumas you've experienced. You got injured, your brain files it away to look for anything similar to that trauma. When it does find it, your body is reminded of the pain you lived through, and you become cautious. So when you're being cautious, you're experiencing some level of stress. The stress may go away after you've left the threat, but it may also be residual. The more traumatic the experience, obviously more stress you're going to experience later. So we are unlike deer, that if they get shot at and run away, the deer will go back to calmly doing whatever deers do. If you get shot at and get away, that experience could traumatize you the rest of your life, which will lower your probability of being successful. Now, you have the proverbial hamster wheels turning in your mind on autopilot. Now, you have memories in your nervous system that are like open wounds that can easily be hurt. Now, you don't need to experience the threat with your senses. You can cause the pain or stress of the trauma with your memory or just imagining it's happening. Until this gets healed, you'll live with this. You may think that you can compartmentalize or forget about them, but your body and mind will not forget about them. You hold on to these experiences because you need to survive another day. A good way to survive today is to avoid what hurt you yesterday. So imagine all these traumas you've accumulated in the decades you've lived, from before you can remember to maybe a few minutes ago. They don't have to be the typical thoughts of trauma like violence, rape, neglect, physical or verbal abuse. It could be an experience that you imagine that was different than what happened. It could be you misinterpreted something that was said or done, and you just imagine it was being done to you. Now, to some level, all these traumas are controlling. When you consider doing something new, your body pumps chemicals into your body that causes emotions to keep you safe. And if you're unhealed, your only choice is to use your willpower to overcome the paralysis of the emotions. Even with willpower, you're still injured. So like arthritis, you can manage to still function, get things done, but the pain doesn't go away on its own. So to not feel the pain, you have a few options. You can medicate it or you can heal it. So medication is not limited to the drugs you can get from your pharmacist or your local drug dealer. It can be alcohol, it can be binge watching Netflix, it can be retail therapy, it could be going on vacation, it could be using someone's attention just to feel wanted. It can be what most people would agree are healthy things too, like exercise, meditation, or being artistic. Anything you do to distract yourself from facing the pain can be generalized as medicating the pain. Just like if you take painkillers for an injury or a surgery to live comfortably, you can be medicating your symptoms of emotional trauma. Now, the difference between taking painkillers as you're recovering from physical pain and medicating yourself from emotional trauma is your body's healing from the physical pain while you're taking the painkillers. You don't heal from the emotional trauma. Most likely it gets worse because after your distraction, you know to some level your emotional trauma still exists and you may feel more emotional because you know you tried to medicate yourself and it wasn't sustainable. This can be dark and lonely and downward spiral of self-destruction. So imagine you got hurt badly and it would take painkillers to live comfortable. But every time the painkiller wore off, you felt slightly more pain. So you take another dose of painkillers to get comfortable again, wears off, pain increases. You do this several times, and every time you take the painkillers and they wear off, you notice there's more pain now than there was before. Are you going to keep taking those painkillers? Now, you probably were pretty concerned and you call the doctor and that diagnosed you and ask him why he prescribed you the painkillers. You'd be curious of what's going on and how long it's going to continue for. So you might even think that you're misdiagnosed and consider calling malpractice. But how many times have you misdiagnosed your emotional pains and used the wrong medication? Now, the alternative in medicating yourself is healing yourself. You can have help in healing process, but ultimately it comes down to your willingness to receive healing. Now, there's many skilled practitioners all around the world that have different modalities that may help you heal. But if you're not willing to meet them, do what they say, or allow them to do their expertise on you, they're useless to you living a healthier life. Now, you can be a skilled practitioner for yourself. There's an abundance of free information of different places, so much that no one will most likely ever count it. So because of that, I'm just going to say there's an endless amount. Now, for each practice, there's a variety of ways of doing it. Some work for some people, some don't work for some people. Some of the factors are your willingness to heal. Are you willing to allow yourself to heal? your belief in what will work. When you do something, do you believe it's actually going to work, or are you just doing it because someone told you to do it? And then another thing is your commitment to healing. Are you only going to do it once? Are you going to do it a couple times? Or are you going to do, maybe it takes 50 times? Are you willing to do it 50 times? So healing yourself is not something that started at Woodstock, and it's not some new age airy-fairy idea. People have been healing themselves before written history, and it's in some of the greatest spiritual books. And if it's been working for thousands of years, I'm sure it can work for you now. But back to a sentence I mentioned earlier, the brain is not designed, or the brain is designed to keep you alive, not to make you successful. So let's imagine the idea of success for you is that you want to run a whole marathon. So that's 26.2 miles. No walking, no resting, running the whole 26.2 miles. But every time you run for more than a mile, no matter how many times you've trained, you start feeling pain. So you struggle through it and keep running. But every stride, the pain gets more intense. This is your brain, your nervous system warning you that there's an injury in your body. And it's communicating that if you do not stop, things are probably going to get worse. So getting worse could mean disability, could be paralysis, or death. Now, if it's not death from the injury, it could mean your inability to escape a lethal threat. How far are you going to run knowing that the pain will increase? Now imagine the same idea of success, same symptoms at the mile mark, but instead of pushing yourself, you recognize that pain is a warning to heal your left leg. You work on self-healing, you get the help of the healer. Next time you run at 3 miles, you feel pain. But instead of your left leg, now it's your right leg. So the trauma, depending on what it is, there's going to be different parts of your body. So you do more healing, you go for another run. Now in the 11th mile, your hips hurt. Heal, run. In the 17th mile, pain shows up. Eventually, through running and healing, you're able to complete a full marathon. Not at no record pace, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you did the healing to set yourself up for success. Instead of giving up an idea of success, you eliminated the pains, which would be the emotional traumas, to be successful. You don't have to answer this question, but I want you to sit with this question now. How many unhealed traumas exist in your nervous system that are preventing you from being successful in all areas of your life? I bet it's far more than you can imagine. Now, I bet that as you start to do the healing, your experience of life will improve. And as you do the work to heal yourself, you may feel like you're getting worse. That's just part of the process. If you have a sliver in your foot for days, the area is going to get tender. Maybe there's some level of an infection. And if it's bad enough, you may take surgery from an expert. Now, they may cause more damage and pain to remove the sliver, but they will remove the sliver and eventually you'll heal again. Things may get worse before they get better. There's an idea that I remind myself of when I'm going through healing. It's baking cookies and doing surgery, always the messiest in the middle. So let's get off the recording, see what miracles we can create through a conversation of using love, curiosity, and transparency.